Hey guys, so I've got a little controversy news thing here for you guys. There's currently something going on with Rise Records. If you aren't aware of currently what's going on, I will leave a link in the description for the subreddit discussion thread, and you can read it there for yourself too, or you can read along with me, it's up to you. Well, basically, let's start off. Rise Records is currently reissuing the Crown the Empire's album, The Resistance, Rise of the Runaways, and some fans are annoyed at this, calling it a cash grab by Rise. And then, in order to understand why people are a little angry and annoyed at these reissues of albums, we need to go back in time and see where it all began. The first reissue is Attack Attack, self-titled album, July 2011, that included 4 new tracks, 2 acoustic songs, and 2 remixes. The poster was largely ignoring this, as it lies outside the recent reissues and the patterns that recently happened. Strangely enough, the reissue of Crown the Empire's first album, The Fallout, in December of 2013 is where this recent trend began, and I myself have noticed this as well, less than 2 years ago. What's different about this reissue is that Crown the Empire re-recorded the whole entire EP previously with the new and clean vocalists. Now, I normally wouldn't mind. Cool. You get to hear remastered versions of the songs. Awesome. Re-recorded. What bothered me is that they changed the tuning. The songs were written for a specific tuning, and that actually bothered me. But I actually prefer the original release of Limitless compared to the re-release version, but that's just me. And they didn't just re-record vocals, they re-record everything. Seems like a fairly decent reissue. You get their album, The Fallout, and a re-recorded version of the EP Limitless for the same. Some people may ask, why not just release the re-recorded EP? And the main reason behind doing this is the publicity behind the name The Fallout. It was their debut album on Rise Records, and thus had the publicity and marketing behind it. It was most likely the album that introduced many fans to the band, so the name had recognition. The next album to be reissued was Secret's album, Fragile Figures, in May 2014. This reissue included 3 new songs and a remix. Third we have Of Mice and Men's album, Restoring Force Full Circle, released in February 2015, with 3 new songs and an acoustic version of a previous song. And last we have Memphis May Fire's Unconditional, reissued in July 2015, that included 2 new songs and 2 acoustic versions of previous songs. Although people are more willing to accept this as a true reissue as the album is remixed and remastered. And if I remember correctly, I'm not a huge fan of Memphis May Fire, so I could be completely wrong on this, but if I remember correctly, the original release of the album was bad, as in the mixing was terrible, and the mastering was terrible. If I remember correctly, the person who's currently remastering it, when they remastered whatever, they said something along the lines of, holy shit, I didn't know that there was chords here. I don't remember. But something along those lines. So, and that one doesn't, never mind. That, I was going to say it doesn't bother me too much, but then thinking about it, it kind of does, because it's still kind of a cash grab. It has a name to it and everything, but it's more okay because of the whole remixed remastered issue, and people can actually hear a lot of things for the first time, which is always good and welcome. The timing of these reissue coincides with the release of acoustic EPs by several bands. Hands Like House's Reimagine in September 2014, Issue's Diamond Dreams in November 2014, Secret's Renditions in April 2015, and Emarosa's Verses Reimagined in July 2015. Now here's the full timeline. The Outlier, which may have started the actual trend, but then again, it's like 2.5 years before the actual trend happened, so maybe not. Anyways, Attack Attack in July 2011. December 2013, Crown the Empire, The Fallout. May 2014, Secrets, Fragile Figures. September 2014, Hands Like House's Reimagine. November 2014, Issue's Diamond Dreams EP. February 2015, Of Mice and Men's Restoring Force Full Circle. April 2015, Secrets, Renditions EP. July 2015, Emarosa, Verses Reimagined EP. July 2015, Memphis May Fire Unconditional. And October 2015, Crown the Empire, The Resistance Deluxe Edition. Now looking at this, December 2013, then there's, a 5-month separation between Crown the Empire's The Fallout reissue and Secret's Fragile Figures reissue. Then from May to September, 4-month span. Then then 2-month span for issues, and then 4 months, and then it keeps feeling like every somewhere between 2 and 4 months there's another reissue, except for the 2 in July of 2015, Emarosa's and Memphis Mayfire's reissues, which actually, think about it, that is pretty ridiculous, to be completely frank. All of these reissues, acoustic EPs, and deluxe editions came out within 22 months of each other, and by the way, I am paraphrasing all of this. All these reissues, acoustic EPs, and deluxe editions came out within 22 months of each other. This sudden change in business model by Rise Records has frustrated fans. Rise Records' reasoning behind reissues: at the base level, it's about keeping the band in the public mind. Most bands release albums every 2 years, so by releasing these deluxe editions or acoustic EPs, they are given more publicity on music sites such as Absolute Punk, Alt Press, etc. Rise mentioned this in one of their tweets, saying bands want to get new tunes out mid-cycle and may not have time for a full album. These reissues serve well in keeping the band noticed. However, some fans have just suggested standalone EPs as a better way of doing this. Reissuing an entire album just to release 2 to 3 new singles seems a bit over the top, although from a business perspective, it is certainly easier. The fans' frustration. Part of it is caused by dashed expectations. Your favorite band just released a new music video, and it has been a while since their last album, so you get excited about a new album, only to find out they are reissuing their latest album with 2 to 3 songs, and maybe some acoustic songs. Now, this is no one's fault, but the frustration is definitely misattributed to the record label releasing the reissue. The next cause is the cash grab appearance of a reissue. Traditionally, reissues have usually happened because the band released an album or EP independently and then signed to a label. The label then reissues the album or EP, usually re-recorded with a better producer. This reissue usually sounds drastically different than the original. See Fit for King's Descendants Redux, reissue by Solid State Records. By reissuing an album they themselves originally issued, it goes against the traditional and accepted way reissues have been done and only seem to be padding the media with news about their bands. A third frustration is that Rise Records appears to be alone in doing this in the scene. Solid State Records, Hopeless Records, Fearless Records, Equal Vision Records, and Tragic Hero Records rarely, if ever, reissue albums, and have never reissued an album they themselves originally issued. Edit. The person edited this, that they forgot that Fearless reissued Taking Back Sunday's latest album, and Hopeless Records reissued Bayside's latest album, so not purely alone, but definitely reissuing the most. We cannot disregard the reputation Rise Records has when considering people's frustration. The appearance of changing band sounds, Memphis Mayfire Palisades, I think it's Paris, I'd never learned how to say it, and being more controlling record label, at least in rumors and the public perception of them, these reissues may have just been the last straw for some people regarding the label. Now, my take on this is basically, I'm actually really, really disappointed with Rise Records for the most part. And I have been for a while. Almost a burnout. Mainly because if you look at their albums, for the most part, at least in my opinion, I have noticed a weird trend about this. It seems that they sort of tell the bands how to sound. What was it? Sleeping with Sirens. Actually, most of the bands on Rise Records sounds the same tone-wise. At least, to me, you may be able to notice a difference and stuff, but I have a hard time telling a difference, because to me, a lot of times, the instrumentation and everything sounds almost exactly the same as a lot of the other bands on there. Which is also why when Silverstein assigned to Rise Records, I was severely disappointed. Because Rise Records, I feel like that they're more out for cash than, to really, help the bands more. That's just something I've noticed, but this is just my opinion. What do you guys think about this whole record issue? I don't even know how we can go about stopping it. Maybe a boycott. Don't buy the reissues. Only buy, actually buy the singles on, online or something. Just the singles. Don't, just buy the original album and buy the singles separately. Don't buy the whole album again. That's the only way I think we could stop it. Have a little boycott of the reissues. If it's actually good Redux, as in Fit for King's example, where it was originally issued by themselves, self-issued, and Solid State Records decided to reissue it, better mixing and everything. Cool. Awesome. But don't buy into a reissued album that just has 1 or 2 new songs. The only way we can speak to them, I feel, is through their money. Hit them in the pocketbooks, and they'll notice. At least that's what I think.